Let's begin with the fallout from dozens of arrests in two different illegal gambling scandals. Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups was among those detained. He is charged with allegedly participating in a conspiracy involving rigged card games tied to the mafia. And Miami Heat player Terry Rozier is accused of insider trading to win bets on NBA games. Both say they are innocent.
Now, to break this down, we're joined by Sean Patrick Griffin, a criminal justice professor at the Citadel and author of Gaming the Game, about another NBA betting scandal from 2007 involving a referee. Good morning, Sean. Really appreciate you joining us. I have to start there, right? I mean, you looked at this 2007 gambling scandal. What was your first reaction when you heard this?
Well, to me, it's significant in the sense that you've got three overlapping worlds. You've got organized crime on the one hand. You've got the underworld of poker gambling, high-stakes poker gambling, which exists especially for people like celebrities and pro athletes who can't go into a casino like you or I would. And then, of course, you have professional athletes, in this case, the NBA. So all these worlds always coexist, but you don't usually see them overlapping this way.
So the FBI says that one of these cases involved rigged high-stakes poker games, but I'm surprised by the level of sophistication. I don't know about you guys, but we're talking about special contact lenses, eyeglasses capable of reading pre-marked cards, an X-ray table that could read cards while they were placed down. That's according to the charging documents. I mean, we are gone to a whole level of sophistication that we've never seen before.
Well, and the one thing that's not in the charging documents because it's not relevant is that world, part of the reason we're all finding it so fascinating is because by definition it's illegal and it doesn't get discussed a lot. And the people who are the victims are themselves obviously committing crimes by being a participant in these schemes. So I'm curious to see when we go forward how this was discovered, because short of an informant, it's very rare for someone who's a part of the criminal network of underground poker games to come forward to law enforcement because they know they've been committing crimes. And a lot of, especially if you're talking about celebrities and athletes, they don't want to come forward partly because of the shame and to let people know that they've been doing this sort of thing. So this world has existed for a long time. And so this technology that they're exploiting really isn't a surprise. It's just we're finally getting a shot to look at it.
Yeah, Sean, you sort of answered the question I was going to, like, how was this even discovered? I haven't heard anybody speak on that. Do you think that we'll see more scandals like this in other sports?
Well, with regard to how this was discovered, at least with the NBA inside information and the prop bets, there were two different conspiracies alleged yesterday. One was about the poker games, and the other one was about inside information and players leaving games early to affect bets. We think we understand how that one was discovered in the sense that we've got mechanisms to detect betting patterns. With regard to the other conspiracy, I don't know how you would detect that short of having informants or if one of these investigations spilled into the other. And to answer your question, yeah, even in this case, they're saying it's ongoing, and they list other people they expect to be involved. And with how ubiquitous prop bets are and fantasy sports, I don't know how anyone's going to stop this, at least in the short term. People are proposing banning prop bets, but short of that, I don't see how you can stop this.
You know, I was watching the NBA last night. You're constantly bombarded with ads for online sports gambling, fantasy gambling. In fact, when I worked at Disney, we thought about this when we did a deal with ESPN about having more of those ads online and that this would encourage a culture. Do you think this particular incident will roll back any of that? Will we see a backswing in terms of the amount of promotion of that?
Well, what's interesting, this scandal, obviously, it's probably the largest to date since legalization in 2018. But there have been a spate of scandals going back the last 2 or 3 years. And what you finally have seen, I've not seen public polling on this, but I can tell you there's been an avalanche of negative publicity. So I think you will finally start seeing pushback on this. The problem is, this always existed to a certain extent. When I wrote Gaming the Game, of course, that was detailing offshore sports gambling, which dwarfs the legal market in the United States. Well, that's still going on and is totally unaffected by whatever legalization is in the United States. So all the leagues have this problem going forward, regardless of what we do.
I'm still struck by hearing the NBA and the mafia in the same sentence. I was watching a sports show last night. They were saying, well, you know, sometimes it's an addiction, gambling addiction. And then Charles Barkley said, this is not a gambling addiction. This is just stupidity. I'm curious, briefly, just what you think about that. Is it a gambling addiction or is it just stupidity and greed?
Well, It could be. First of all, we always assume it's financially related. There are plenty of times people do this for ego, to impress people, to show people what they can do, to impress a girlfriend. I've seen any number of motivations. But also, how many celebrities have we seen that have either gone bankrupt or in financial harm for bad business deals, bad investments? So there are any number of reasons someone might want to place what seems trivia to us, a $5,000 bet or a $10,000 bet, even though they're multimillionaires.
Well, it certainly has us all talking. Sean Patrick Griffin, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.